Today we are going to discuss about why do analysis. So this question is very relevant because you have already studied calculus, and if you have gone through the books of analysis, most of the things you have studied in calculus will be repeating. So we should know why we should do analysis in a rigorous way. Okay, so there is a shifting in the as well as in the techniques as in the rigor in the once we move from calculus to analysis. Let us try to see some problems where we require more rigor than simply doing the problem solving. Okay, let us see this problem. This is a very simple one. A times B equal to A times C, which implies B equal to C. Now you apply this in this particular problem. 0 times 1 equal to 0 times 2 implies what? Can we cancel 0 on both sides and get 1 equal to 2, which is a absurd result? Why it went wrong? Why the method of cancellation did not work in the second problem? Yes, all of you know the reason. Because cancellation is not simply striking off. Cancellation means dividing with A. So when I am cancelling A here, it's actually you are dividing with A. So here also we have to divide by 0, but division by 0 is inadmissible. So you cannot apply the same technique here. So that means if you simply look into the cancellation as striking off, you may end up in some absurd result like this. So the same thing may happen in the case of calculus also. So let us see some interesting problems. So let x be a real number. You are supposed to find limit n tends to infinity x raised to n. So first we should know what do we mean by limit n tends to infinity x raised to n. So it means you give different values for n. You choose a fixed real number x and find x, x square, x cube, x raised to 4, etc. So the question is, eventually what is going to happen for this sequence? The sequence x, x square, x cube, x raised to 4, where does it go? Okay, let us try to see this problem. Let us take this limit be L equal to limit n tends to infinity x to the power n. Replace n with m plus 1. So as n tends to infinity, m plus 1 will tends to infinity, so m is also going to infinity. So I can write L as equal to limit n tends to infinity x raised to n, which I can rewrite as limit m tends to infinity x to the power m plus 1. So splitting this one, you will get limit m tends to infinity x times x to the power m. Since x is constant here, fixed real number, you can take x outside and then it will become x limit m tends to infinity x to the power m. But limit m tends to infinity x to the power m is like this only, which is L. So I can write L equal to XL. Okay, once L equal to XL, what you are going to get is 1 minus x times L equal to 0. Do you find any problem here? Let us go one more step. This happens in two ways. Either 1 minus x equal to 0. So if 1 minus x equal to 0, then what happens? Then x will be 1. That means all real numbers are equal to 1. Because you start with some real number and you proved that the real number is 1. So which is an absurd result. All real numbers are equal to 1 is an absurd result. Okay, So we cannot choose 1 minus x equal to 0. Then what happens if L equal to 0? L equal to 0 means this sequence, limit of this sequence is 0. But look into this sequence, x, x square, x cube. What type of sequence it is? We can call it as a geometric series or geometric progression. And what you are going to get is every geometric series converge to 0, which is also wrong. So where we went wrong? Think about it. Okay, let us see another problem. Find the sum of the series 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 plus etc. There is a typical method is there. You take the sum as s equal to 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8. Multiplying with 2, it will be 2s will be 2 plus 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8. This 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8 etc. will be s again. So it will be 2 plus s. Now you got 2s equal to 2 plus s. Subtracting s from both sides, you will get s equal to 2. Which is obviously true. Okay. Now let us apply the same technique in another problem. 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8. S equal to 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 etc. 2s will be 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus etc. Adding 1 on both sides, you will get 2s plus 1 equal to 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus etc. which is s again. So you will get 2s plus 1 equal to s. Again subtracting s from both sides and rearranging, you will get s equal to minus 1. What you got? The sum of the series of positive terms is minus 1, which is again absurd. So where we went wrong? So with these two examples, you should think of one or two things. What types of sequences converge? Second is, what type of series has a sum? You cannot apply the properties of sequence and series which you have studied in lower classes from 9th standard, 10th standard, 11, 12, all these classes, or even first previous semesters, what you have studied about sequence and series. While applying, you should be little careful. So you can go back there and think of, is there any conditions you have used? That times, because you are concentrating more on problem solving, you might have skipped some conditions. Or you might have taken it granted. The condition may be there, but you might not have given concentration on that one. So think about that one. Relook into those problems, calculus problems. Okay. Now let us see another thing. The sequence is actually, you can treat sequence as functions, because sequences are functions from natural numbers to some real numbers. Say corresponding to 1, you will get a number, you will call it as x1. Corresponding to 2, you will get another number, real number, you call it as x2. Corresponding to n, you will get a number, real number, you denote it as xn. So x1, x2, x3, etc. xn are sequence. So sequences are functions from natural numbers to real numbers. Okay. So when you speak about limit of a sequence, convergence of a sequence, actually you are dealing with convergence of functions or limit of functions. So you should be very clear about what is function. Let us see another scenario where you can see some absurd results like previous. Okay, let us take my function f of x as sin x. Put x equal to y plus pi. then we will get limit x tends to infinity sin x equal to minus limit y tends to infinity sin y. By simply applying the change of variable, this right hand side I can write as limit x tends to infinity sin x also. Okay, so which will give you limit x tends to infinity sin x plus sin x equal to 0, which is 2 times limit x tends to infinity sin x equal to 0, and it will give you limit x tends to infinity sin x equal to 0. Do you find any problem there? Okay, I will proceed one more step. If limit x tends to infinity sin x equal to 0 and put x equal to pi by 2 plus z, as x tends to infinity, z will also go to infinity. Again, applying basic techniques of trigonometry and the change of the variable, you will get limit x tends to infinity cos x equal to 0. So you got limit x tends to infinity sin x equal to 0 and limit x tends to infinity cos x equal to 0. If a function converges to some number L, its square also converges to the square of the limit. So applying that technique, limit x tends to infinity cos x and limit x tends to infinity sin x equal to 0 will imply limit x tends to infinity cos square x plus sin square x equal to 0. But what is cos square x plus sin square x? Whatever be the value of x, cos square x plus sin square x is 1 only. So limit x tends to infinity 1 equal to 0. That is 1 equal to 0. Again you got some absurd results. Okay, so where we went wrong? So this problem gives an insight for finding the limit. What are the criteria? Can we find limit of a function always? Little more further, you can ask one or other two questions, little more specific questions. What do you mean by limits at infinity? Similarly, what is infinity? That is $1 million question, which we may have to spend a lot of time for discussing this one. What is infinity? Okay, now let us see another two situations. You want write any matrix, any 2 by 2 matrix, and I want to find the sum of all the entries of that matrix. So you can do it in two ways. Let us see one problem. Okay, I will write one matrix. What I am going to do first is I will write the sum of the first row 1 plus 2, and I will write it here as 3. Okay, second row minus 1 plus 3 is 2. So I will get a sum here 3 and here 2, then add them. I will get 5. First what I did, I add the entries in the row, then I add those sums. Okay, you can do in another way also. First you add entries in the column. 1 plus minus 1, 0. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Then 0 plus 5 equal to 5. In whichever order you add, the final answer will be 5. This is true for any matrices which you are already written. Okay, so it says that this summation over I and summation over j, that can be interchanged. Summation can be interchanged. Now let us try this in an infinite matrix. Here, if you add rows first, then add that sums, you will get some answer. But if you do the same thing here in the column first, will you get the same answer here? Where we went wrong. This question example leads to this some other things to think. Can we interchange the summation? Under what condition we can interchange summation? Similar other questions are there, like can we interchange the limits? If you have two variables and two limits are there, can we interchange the limits? Or sometimes there is a limit and derivative is there, can we interchange limit and derivative? This kind of questions we are going to discuss in our analysis. So we are going to be more rigorously think what are the conditions or where these things are built up, on which these things are built up. That is why we want to discuss why we do analysis. So these are the books which I have going to refer. I have yesterday mentioned these names: Bertil and Sherbert and Terence Tavo Analysis 1. Mainly you focus on this. Today's discussion was focused on Terence Tavo's Analysis 1. If you get this soft copy, try to read this one, Terence Tavo's book. Okay. Thank you.